been an air ambulance crash in Chatra in Jharkhand. That's while going from Ranchi to Delhi. It crashed in the forest near Karmatand village in Simaira police station area of Chatra district. According to the information, there were 7 people on board the air ambulance when it crashed, which includes 1 patient, 1 doctor, 1 paramedic and 2 attendants, and also 1 pilot and 1 co-pilot. It was a Beechcraft C90 aircraft which was on Ranchi-Delhi medical evacuation flight route. And like I mentioned, the crash was reported in the Kasyara Panchayat, Chatra district of Jharkhand. We also have more information on the air ambulance crash. We are learning that the aircraft took off from Ranchi at 7 p.m. local time, and then it lost contact with Kolkata at around 7:30 p.m. There was radar contact was lost 100 nm southeast of Varanasi. And my colleague Tanushka, who's been tracking this story very closely, is now joining me on the phone line. Tanushka, earlier on the show, we were discussing how this air ambulance crashed, but what we're also learning is that there were 7 people on board the crash. And what we also know is that the air ambulance crash lost contact before that crash. Tell us more.
Right, precisely. We've been given to understand that this was a Redbird Airways Pvt Ltd Beechcraft C90 aircraft registered under VTAJV, operating under medical evacuation. That means this was an air ambulance flight on sector Ranchi to Delhi, and crashed in the Kasyara Panchayat of Chatra district in Jharkhand. There were 7 persons on board. This is official information that we have coming in from the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, including 2 crew members on board. Now, this aircraft was airborne from Ranchi at around 7:11. This is Indian Standard Time, and during the flight, contact with the aircraft was lost near Atali at 7:34 in the evening, and the aircraft was last contacted by the Kolkata Air Traffic Control. According to Varanasi Air Traffic Control, the aircraft did not make any contact with them, and following this, the Rescue Coordination Center was activated at around 8:05 in the evening, which means after contact was lost at around 7:34, the Rescue Coordination Center was activated at 8:05. We also know that after establishing contact, the radar contact with Kolkata at approximately 100 nm southeast of Varanasi was also made. The district administration and search and rescue team are already at the location of the crash, and the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau team is also being dispatched for investigation.
Right, Anushka. What we also know is that there was an expected arrival time in Delhi at around 10 p.m., but the crash took place at around 7:11 p.m. when the aircraft lost contact with the Kolkata base there. But Anushka, tell us more about what were some kind of lapses. Of course, we cannot foresee why this crash took place, but were there no precautionary measures that took place before the air ambulance took off?
We understand that of course, this was an air ambulance. So there was 1 patient, 1 doctor, 1 paramedic on board. There were 2 attendants, 1 pilot in control, and 1 co-pilot. Now, of course, what led to the crash? What were the circumstances under which the crash happened? The reason for the crash is being ascertained and investigated by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. What we can tell you as of this moment is that this was a charter, and it was on radar only for a short while, after which it lost contact and communication, and which is when, of course, there were red flags that were raised, and the air traffic controls of the area, that is the Kolkata Air Traffic Control, the Rescue Coordination Center, were activated to get in touch with this aircraft, which, lost, of course, communication. Thereafter, it was established that indeed this aircraft has crashed. We know that the district administration, along with the AIB team, is on the spot for investigation, and we shall, get to know as to what exactly happened and the reason for this crash in a short while.
Right, absolutely. What we also know is that the AAIB team has reached the spot to ascertain the reasons, the cause of the crash. The aircraft took off from Ranchi at 7:11 p.m. It lost contact and it crashed at around 7:34 p.m. But Tanushka, tell us more about how police officials are suggesting right now, of course, there's no confirmation as to what led to that air ambulance crash, but police officials are suggesting that the debris could be linked to an air ambulance crash at this point of time. Of course, with all the investigation that will happen right now after the black box and the debris will be recovered, after which we will, of course, know as to what happened and why the air ambulance crash.
Absolutely, yes. We do know at this point that as per airport sources as well, that the plane was a medical aircraft flight which departed as scheduled, with communication also established with the next control station before the air traffic control was transferred. However, contact was subsequently lost and the aircraft did not establish communication with the Ranchi airport. Authorities have also informed the state government and all standard operating procedures are being followed. We've been given to understand. So it's not just the aircraft accident investigation bureau team that's on spot, but also district and state government also that has taken cognizance of the crash that has happened.
Right. While we cannot confirm on the reasons for the crash, we've also been told that there can be possibility of bad weather and technical faults which are being examined, which led to that airplane crash of the air ambulance crash at around 7:30 p.m. Of course, search and rescue operations are underway as we speak. And Tanushka, like you also pointed out, that apart from the AAIB team there in Ranchi, we also have the district officials there trying to ascertain the reasons for that air ambulance crash. But do we know about the condition of all the passengers on board? Because like you also mentioned, that there were 7 people on board the air ambulance crash.
Right, precisely. We do know that among the 7 people who were present, of course, one of them was a patient, one doctor, one paramedic, 2 flight attendants who were the crew members as well, and 1 pilot in control and 1 co-pilot. We of course, yet to understand whether or not these 7 people have, survived out of the crash or not. However, because investigation is still underway, these are very initial reports that are coming in with respect to the crash. And we will, have further information coming in from the Ministry of Civil Aviation shortly as well.
Right, Tanushka, for the benefit of the viewers, give us a lowdown of what are the next steps which will take place right now as investigations are underway as we speak after an air ambulance crash took place a few hours ago. There were 7 people on board the air ambulance crash, including a patient, the pilot and the family. But Tanushka, you are an expert in this sector. What are some possible scenarios that we are looking at moving forward?
Of course, moving forward with the main crux of this comes down to the digital flight data recorder, the DFDR, and which is basically the black box. The black box consists, remember, of 2 components which are very crucial to any investigation, as this stores not just all the data of the aircraft but also any other such information with respect to what happens within the flight as well. So first is the DFDR, the digital flight data recorder. Then comes the cockpit voice recorder, that is the CVR. Now these two retrieval of these 2 sources are most crucial to any investigation in such a case, and this is what is going to be determining the cause, what happened, perhaps the conversational exchange also between the pilots. All of these details will shed light upon how did this happen and whether or not the pilots also were in control, because as of now we only understand that this charter aircraft lost communication. Why did it lose communication? How did the crash happen? All of these details will come about from the retrieval of the black box and after some initial information as well that we will be getting from the air traffic control sources.
But absolutely, Tanushka, while you've given us a lowdown of the steps that will take place next, talk to us more about how the charter plane lost communication at around 7:34 p.m. today with Kolkata. That is after it took off at around 7:11 p.m. from Ranchi. And it was because of this loss of communication that led to the charter plane crash. But Tanushka, talk to us more about how technical glitches and such kind of anomalies will also be discussed and put on the forefront.
Right. We also understand, right before that the captain who was flying this aircraft was Captain Vikas Bhagat, as well as the co-pilot in charge, that was Captain Savrijit Singh. And these are the two captains who were in charge of this particular aircraft. And we also have, of course, passenger details also that have come in. These were, of course, a patient, two flight attendants, a doctor, a paramedic as well. And these are the people who were on board. We have visuals also coming in of the crash that happened, and of course further details with respect to technicalities and what exactly happened on the aircraft are to be ascertained in a short while itself, because the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau team has been, of course, rushed to the spot. And we also understand that this is a medical flight that took off. It was its contact was established at the next station. Right.
Right. We also learning that the air ambulance crash, that there has been, of course, we are learning that there has been no casualty so far, because we need to know about the well-being of all the 7 passengers on board the air ambulance crash. We're also learning that the state authorities were immediately informed and all required standard operating procedures are being followed. But at this point of time, Tanushka, what can we expect in the next few hours? We do know that investigation is underway after the radar contact was lost near southeast of Varanasi. This is, of course, after the aircraft took off from Ranchi at 7:11 p.m. That's the news that is breaking to you at this point of time. There was contact lost. The aircraft, the air ambulance, lost contact at around 7:30 p.m. near Kolkata, after which there was this crash. But Tanushka, how crucial are the next few hours when it comes to the investigation and to ascertain what led to the crash and what can we expect in the next, if I can say, 24 hours?
Next 24 hours, definitely, it will be, of course, first thing that we're looking at is to be certain whether or not there are casualties from this crash. If yes, then how many casualties? If not, then how many people have survived? So this is crucial information that is also, requires official confirmation at this point. Yes, we do know that 7 people were on board the craft, and thereafter the technicalities that we're looking at here is the reasons, whether it was with respect to any sort of visibility issues that this crash happened, or was it any other issues within the aircraft, or whatever it may be, even with respect to the pilots perhaps. All of this will shortly be ascertained only once the Aircraft Investigation Bureau team is on the spot and comes back with some sort of very initial findings. With the initial findings, is not the preliminary report that I'm talking about. The preliminary report, as per the International Civil Aviation Organization rules, is supposed to come in 30 days within a crash. These are the rules. So, of course, that goes for the preliminary report. But initial findings are what we expect in the next 24 hours. And especially to understand that this aircraft took off from Ranchi at 7:11 and then contact was lost near Atali at 7:34 p.m. So what happened in between 7:11 and 7:34 is what is crucial information at this point, because this is when it'll be best to determine what exactly went down, that communication and contact was entirely lost with the aircraft from the air traffic control.
Right, Tanushka, stay with us. I'm also being joined by Prabhakar. Prabhakar, at this point of time, what we're learning is that there's 7 people on board the air ambulance crash, which took place after it lost contact at around 7:34 p.m. IST earlier today. Few questions that glares: what led to the crash? The well-being of the 7 passengers on board. What are you picking up at this point of time?
As for the preliminary findings and what we are learning from the ground, and especially from the district administration officials, that all 7 persons on board might not actually survive, though we are not confirming it officially. But there were 7 people on the board. There were 2 crew members, which are like 2 of the pilots, and then there was a patient called Sanjay Kumar, the attendant of Sanjay Kumar, and also there were paramedic staff and doctors on board. So altogether, 7 persons were there on board. This plane actually took off from Ranchi. It was bound for Delhi. It was an air ambulance carrying patient and the attendant. And this has lost contact with the ATC Calcutta at around 7:34 p.m. Now we have got the debris of that particular plane at Chatra district in Jharkhand. The names of the passengers and the people on board, it has been released officially by DGCA, and the team has been dispatched by DGCA actually to inquire into as to what caused this accident. As of now, the district administration officials on the ground, they are there. They are trying to secure that particular accident site and ensure that until and unless the DGCA team reaches there, nothing is touched by people who are there on the ground.
Right, Prabhakar. Tanushka, a short while ago, told us how crucial the next 24 hours is to ascertain what led to the crash. Like you mentioned, looking at the visuals on the screens right now, it's unlikely that any of those 7 passengers would be alive. But Prabhakar, tell us more about what we can expect in the next few hours, because there are some glaring questions. Number one, whether there was any visibility issue or technical glitch that led to having lost contact of the air ambulance, which led to that fatal crash.
See, as what we are learning from our sources on the ground, especially from Ranchi, that when this aircraft actually took off from Ranchi, taking the passenger on board who was admitted in the local hospital over there, and he was in a very critical condition, and he was actually referred by doctors to be treated at Delhi. The weather on the way from Ranchi to Delhi was slightly turbulent, but it was good enough for an aircraft of this particular size to actually reach Delhi. That was the reason why ATC actually gave clearance. But what went wrong, why this accident happened, and what went wrong as to causing a accident like this, that would be investigated by the agencies, and that can only be confirmed and ascertained when the technical team reaches on the ground and actually gives their findings.